Share.
All right, now, folks, we are live in full color. I'm been doing Zoom after Zoom after Zoom. I feel like Zoom. Oh, no, they ain't gonna know about that. You know, I celebrate 26 years in the yesterday, so you know, I've been doing all kind of looking at pictures and stuff like that. But hey, man, we are
That's
live, and we are talking about it is what it is. Don't get caught by that bias.
Right.
And I put out a special picture today in reference to what's going on in the state of Georgia. Now I can talk about what's going on in Georgia because we live in Georgia. But when I'm gathering what's going on all across the United States of America, in particular, it's happening in Georgia at an alarming rate. Because if you don't know, you must don't live somewhere in this world. But if you don't know, Georgia made history by having two, not one. We flipped two U.S. Senate seats in the state of Georgia. So in flipping two U.S. Senate seats in the state of Georgia, guess what happened? That was 2020. We thought that after 2020's election, we did all this fighting, we did all this fussing, we did all this curtailing. We thought that by doing all this stuff here, we were going to be able to roll into 2021 and take a year off. But guess what, brother?
What's that?
The state house is attacking the African American community.
Okay.
They are trying to. I think someone told me on the thing, James and Jane Crow, the grandkids of Jim Crow, have come out and they're attacking us. The black code laws are coming back out and attacking us. Segregation is coming back. All those things that have held back African Americans, all those things that have been pushing back, all those things that are trying to put us back to sleep are coming back to fruition. And so guess what, brother? Today we're going to talk about, it is what it is, but what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the struggle that they're trying to put out there, and we're going to introduce a topic. We're going to give ourselves 7 days to do some research on it, some language on it, and some background on it, so we can make sure we have intelligent conversations to these laws that are being presented. And that also gives me a chance to see if the Senate bill actually passes and how it passes and what capacity it passes. And then even if the governor signs it, because I think midday is either this week or next week. And mid I forgot what they call it, crossover day. Crossover day is when the day when the bills leave one house and goes to the other, and then they blend them to send it to the governor. And that party has been taking the time to be able to do what it needs to do to make sure that they send rules and regulations and laws that take us backwards into time. And so with that being said, they may not know what Jim Crow is and black codes and stuff like that. I'm gonna lean on you while I go ahead and tend to see what Johannes want from me. So you got the floor, brother. Go ahead and talk, man.
All right, Brother Jones, thank you so much for the invitation again, as always, and thank you for all your work you're doing for not only our family, but the family of everyone in the community. So what are Jim Crow laws? Well, first of all, I'd like to give everyone a reference. Please get the book if you have not done so already. It's The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. She talks about how Jim Crow laws have literally just been updated to fit the new norm in our society. So also, too, you might want to look into, and you can just Google this, but you need to go to credible sources to look up the Christian Black Codes. I'm going to repeat that again. The Christian Black Codes. And what a lot of people may not understand, Brother Jones, is the description that we have as people in the United States. A lot of people need to understand that that description is a code, and that code is specifically made for a program. When people look up coding, and I don't know, and I know you mentor different students from all over the place, bro. Some in computer science, electrical engineering, a lot of them deal with different codes. And every code actually displays what your next steps are, and what the end result should be. So when we start looking at the Jim Crow laws and the Christian Black codes, we have to understand that every code is meant for a system to run as smoothly as possible. Now, one thing that a lot of people may not understand is that when people who have been coded out of a system, who have been coded actually like a virus, anytime when that virus actually starts getting bigger and bigger and it's allowed to move freely as possible, then the immune system will naturally, I would say, build up an immunity to try to get out free radicals. And what do I mean by this? And I'm speaking in analogies, but I want people to understand what I'm saying. If a system was already built to make sure that specific groups, mainly one group, is never allowed inside of the system, this should be almost expected, not tolerated, but expected. This is why I want everybody to understand. We don't understand, and I say we loosely. I'm only talking to the people who really just don't understand it, right? Elders always tell me before, Jay, and you said this before too, you understand the fruits when you understand the roots. A lot of people don't understand the root of the Constitution and a lot of the laws that were put into place for the United States. A lot of people just don't know them. So when we see things like this that actually go through legislation, through Congress, through the state legislation, all of these different things, people are kind of taken aback like, man, what is going on here? But a lot of us who have been exposed, and one thing about it is I don't hold everybody accountable, because a lot of the time some people were exposed to information not because they looked for it, it's because they were blessed to go to a right school, or they had a parent that was involved or exposed to that information. So they know kind of what's up. Unfortunately, the grand scale of things, there are a lot of people who take this type of move and they're kind of dumbfounded like, man, what is going on? How did this pass? When in actuality, if you understand the roots, you will understand the fruit that the tree is bearing, right? So what is that fruit? If we're dealing with Jim Crow laws and we're dealing with the Christian Black codes, you just specifically said the name earlier. You said Black people and African Americans. One of the main things that people need to do is you have to go look up through the United States Census and look up how the two words are actually defined. African American and Black. And this has nothing to do with our beliefs. It has nothing to do with pride. It has nothing to do with quote unquote our history as people. I'm talking about a code and a system that benefits off a specific code. Now, when you look at this, when you go to the census and you look up the specific definitions of the word Black and African American, it literally tells you how we're perceived in law dealing with the Constitution and the United States Census, which is considered a legal document, right? So now when we're looking at all this stuff that's being passed, and remember, we haven't sat down and just had a good long time to really look at this bill, because let's be honest, it's quite lengthy. And there's a lot of things that are set in stone to disenfranchise certain groups. Who are these groups? And one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is when you're coded, those are code words. You ever heard of people talk about people like inner city groups, minority groups, inner city, urban, all these different words. These are codes to mean the exact same people that are listed in the census, right? So what a lot of people may not understand is when you go and look up to the Census Bureau and go to census.gov, Black and African American are the only groups that are listed not descendant from original people. We're the only group that has the word race associated with their definition. And what a lot of people may not understand is race itself, as soon as the social concept of race popped up, that was a code to take certain human beings out of the immune system of humanity. That means we were taken out of humanity and turned into free radicals. What is that? Have you heard that word radical before, Jay?
Oh yeah, of course. And that's the word they use when that's your word they use when we express ourselves freely and unconscious about what kind of oppression or any kind of situation is holding us back. Then we're radical. Why is that person right? Matter of fact, there was a U.S. senator that they called radical just because he was just breaking down the principles of this is what happens in Black communities versus other communities. And we need to stand up for ourselves, and we need to be, oh man, he's radical because he's teaching them how to express themselves freely. I apologize, brother. Go ahead. You got lost.
No. And it's good. And this is the thing that I want people to understand. If people had this is the thing, a lot of people may not understand immunity, which is ironic that we've been going through the pandemic and a lot of people have been talking about immune systems. This is the perfect time to understand how this system works, because it does work just like an immune system. Because if certain people are identified as quote unquote free radicals, what is the immune system naturally supposed to do? pinpoint those free radicals, destroy them, or remove them so the body can stay healthy. Think about this. This immune system has been predicated on making sure that certain people are considered human beings and other people are not in law. It has nothing to do with my opinion, Brother Jay Jones. Has nothing to do with how I feel about my folks. Has nothing to do with how I feel about my people or people who are not my people. It means absolutely nothing regarding my emotions. At the end of the day, we have to go see what has been documented, what has been put into play in the past, and what is still in play. Because put it like this, I think a person asked this in my class the other day. If people were considered 3/5 human at one time in history, what was the law or act or anything like that that reversed it or literally took that out of law? And no one can say anything, right? Just like when we talk about the 13th Amendment. When we start talking about the 13th Amendment, and a lot of people need to really just read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, because she kind of, I mean, I've never seen someone, and not saying that people haven't done it, but me personally, I've never seen someone break it down to its elements to where it's so understandable that you literally have to ignore it to not understand what she's saying, right? So when you start talking about the new Jim Crow, the only thing that means is the system updated itself. And I'll put it like this, I like to think about computers, and I relate this system, this oppressive system, this dehumanization system, and a lot of people like to call it white supremacy. You call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, it has taken certain groups of people outside of humanity and then putting that thought process into law and legally treating them less than human beings. That's what we're dealing with, right? So now, when you deal with the immune system that I just kind of try to break down, hopefully it made sense. If not, I apologize. But when you start looking at the computer system, anything that is updated, I know you've been working on your computer a lot, Brother Jones. And have you ever seen your computer pop up and say, hey, you need to download these updates? Because if you don't, you're susceptible to viruses, right?
Correct.
Now, check this out, Brother Jones. I have an analogy, and I hope people understand this. If you have a system that is predicated, it is built, and it's run off of certain groups not being able to function fully and with their civil rights, human rights, all types of rights. If that system is based off making sure that certain groups cannot function fully in their human capacity, as soon as it is updated, it has to update to make sure that these quote unquote free radicals do not infiltrate the immune system of the body and the computer. Remember, our immune system and all of our different systems in our body, it works like a computer. Literally, they built the computer off of our bodies. Period. It's just like a brain. And the brain literally sends codes to all of our organs, and they work like clockwork, right? So now what you're seeing with the passing of this bill, it is literally the system updating itself. And I hope people take a time to look at like The Matrix and other different movies that kind of spell it out for you. And none of this is really a secret. That's the reason why I think we'll be, when I say we, I'm talking about all the people who want to understand truth, facts, real history, and how to move forward as a human race. Because, a lot of times when we say, man, why are they treating this group like this? And I said, well, you got to understand, people are targeted. Anytime when you're playing the rigged sport, you have to, at some point, you're going to have to get over the surprise element of it and then start doing the preparation element. Because the surprise element is almost like a theatrical thing. It's like, oh, my God, this is happening again. If you understand the roots, you will then be able to understand the fruit that it bears. And I hope this makes sense, Brother John, because it makes sense in my mind. But sometimes, when you try to explain it to people, use your examples and analogies, it may get lost in translation. But whoever understands it, turn it into your way of talking, to your way of thinking, and explain it to somebody who can understand. Because we got children right now looking at it. We got elders looking at it. And I would highly suggest a lot of people start talking to their elders, man, because they saw this computer program in its raw form. It's almost like this. We get internet and Wi-Fi, Jim Crow and the Christian Black Codes. They literally had the first typewriter where they had to put in the ink, the whole cartridge and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? And so our elders really, they saw it in its raw form. They don't like right now. And I tell them, and I say, I think this is one of the biggest opportunities for our community, our people, to bridge the gap between our elders and our youth. And the people in the middle, everybody between 25 and 55, we do have an opportunity to speak to both ends of the spectrum to build a bridge, because we're on the same team, but right now I put like this, we're a huge football team. We're on the same team. Some people play offense, some people play defense, but the special teams is just as important. And I would say the special teams is the people that's in the middle, the 25 between 55, the people that can communicate to both sides without them, going to war with each other. You understand what I'm saying? So the elders have so much game that is needed right now, because guess what happened? We talked about it earlier today. You said, man, you remember those tests that they had those jelly beans in a jar, and you had to count the jar.
Man, I said, well, I need to get my jelly bean jar, man.
It's all G, but put it like this: sometimes it's better to imagine it, because that's the system updating itself again. Remember, if a system is already built to make sure that it's lopsided and imbalanced, to make sure that somebody always feels like they're going downhill and somebody's always at the very, very top, when you bring in something like you have to, count all of these jelly beans in the jar, that's just a system updating itself off of deceit and deception. Period. And so when we see this bill, go ahead.
And what I was going to say, people, this is what it is, man, and we can't get caught in this itis. And so if you're just now tuning in, what Dr. Pugh is talking about is we're talking about how a history of America with black codes, with Jim Crow laws, how James and Jane Crow, the great grandkids of the Jim Crow, how they revived themselves, and how what we did was America woke up, America did what it was supposed to do. We finally, even through all the oppression, through all the bullcrap they tried to do last year in preventing us from flipping the Senate, we flipped the Senate, and now we have two U.S. senators who listen to people, who are listening to the voice of the people, who are radically making changes to what's going on in our community. And it's finally an opportunity where federal government can finally start working for us. We're in maybe 5, 10, 20 years where federal government has not been working for us. Now we come down to the point of, okay, we had that issue on the federal side. Now Georgia is in a fight in 2022. Georgia's in a fight in 2022 because the stronghold has had a stronghold since 2002, since 2002, 2003. It's going to be tested in 2022. And 20 years later, the people are finally going to get an opportunity to remove some of these chains and everything like that. But then guess what? Our local legislators who's supposed to be listening to the people are doing us this just because that's what they're doing. You had 3 elections. They said there was no issues with it. They had an election. They called it 3 times to be counted. It was counted 3 times. No issue with it. But you still take the time to do all kind of acts of oppression to keep voters from being able to go to. These are some of the things. These are the things that's listed in that bill. And we're talking about House Bill 531. First thing is limited Sunday voting to 1 option Sunday in each county. So basically, you're going to tell a county you can only have early voting 1 time. So you can have the budget to have early voting as many Sundays as you want, but we're going to tell you can only have it one time. Why would the state government want to interfere and blockade that? That has nothing to do with anything. That's giving a person more opportunity to get to the polls and vote. You give me a reason why they can't have more than 1 Sunday to come to the polls. Number 2.
What's your question?
Number 2 point: restricted the use of ballot drop boxes by requiring them to be located inside early voting locations. Why? Every location we did a drop box in Chatham County, it had to have 1 or 2 requirements. Requirement number 1, it had to be where a video camera was present, where we can videotape it. So if anybody bothered it, we can always go back to the video footage to do it.
Right.
It didn't require it to be at an early vocation. We base it on where at population wise will be the best place to put these voting places. Now you're telling me it's got to be at a location where you got early voting, but then you're also telling me you want to restrict early voting, which is the next thing. You know, I mean, you cannot say that you're trying to help people and you're doing everything you can to stop people from getting it. Require driver license number, state ID number, or a copy of identification copy with the voter absentee ballot. So now, how many people in America have copy machines at their house? How many people in America at home keep a copy of their driver's license? So now you're saying if you turn the absentee ballot, you got to turn the ID with them. Why not just require them to return the ID card? If it's already a law that states that if they do anything wrong by that vote, that's a felony. You're going to jail for life. Why do we need to put an extra barrier out there? Oh, and then at the same time, you got COVID-19 going, where all your federal and state offices are on restrictions as well. So if they're on restrictions, and you're talking about those restrictions, so what's the chance of being able to get ID? You know, and they already know, and me and you both already know, what race has the hardest time getting any kind of state appropriated ID. You already know it. You already know it. So we already understand, you know, and that one right there, I can look at that one. I'm gonna find a way solution to fix that one, but that one right there is restricted too. The other one is set a deadline to request absentee ballots 11 days before election. I don't really have a quorum with that one, because my thing is, if 11 days before, then guess what? We need to make sure we're on time. But I can tell you that is specifically targeting Democrats and Black voters, because we traditionally wait to the last minute to be able to go and do those kind of things. But if it's in the confines of being able to do so, why not leave it alone? It didn't hurt nobody. It didn't bother nobody. The other thing was disqualifying. This one adversely affects African Americans. Disqualified provisional ballots cast in the wrong precincts. This is something where if you're going to do that, then what you need to do is, if someone in the past had went to the wrong precinct, then the county needs to, rather than disqualify them, they need to inform that individual in writing what their correct precinct is. Because because my thing is, we got to make sure our Board of Elections are giving the right information about putting the precincts out there, because that becomes problematic in its own self. The next thing is ban outside funding of elections from nonprofit organizations. Now now you telling people outside of the state of Georgia, oh, y'all can't help these folks over here in the state of Georgia get win elections, because we got these jokers in control, and so we want to make sure they depend on us. That's bullcrap, man. That's bullcrap. If anybody wants to help outside, inside, or whatever, and they follow the FEC rules or whatever rules there are governing these elections, then why can't they financially support who they want to financially support? That is bull hockey. You shouldn't tell somebody how to spend their money. If they feel the right to be able to support, they should be able to support them. But once again, when you control the narrative through privilege, and you control the money in the government, and you control the money in the state, you can try to put rules and regulations out there to not allow other people to be able to have the same rights and privileges as you. And I'm gonna go through these, and I'm gonna turn it back over to you, dog. Prohibit. Now, this one right here makes no darn sense at all. And this right here is blatant targeting of Black communities, dog. Prohibiting governments from mailing unsolicited absentee ballot applications. Now, why in the HE double hockey sticks would you tell government not to help its people? That's crap, man. You should allow your government to help its people. You should be wanting to encourage. You tell, hey, y'all had 70% voter participation. That's too high. That's too high. Y'all need to be at 65. So what we're gonna tell you is, don't send them the absentee ballot application. Because my thing is, that's not just hurting one party. That's hurting both parties. So when you tell them you tell government, you tell local government, oh, don't send that paper to them, because they need to know when the absentee ballot thing is on their own. What about those people who don't have computer access? What about those people who don't have the access they need to be able to get that ballot? Now you told government not to even assist its own people. And guess what? You know what environments did the most as far as sending those absentee ballots out to the people, government-wise? They were in historically Black communities. Sorry to tell you that, brother, but that's the hard, honest, earnest truth. Creates instant runoff voting for military and overseas voting. Come on, man. The military folk already serving our country. You're going to do everything you can to make it worse and harder for them to be able to get their rights and privileges to vote to them. Man, those are people who are serving this country. Why even put anything dealing with military and try to stifle a military person from being able to get the opportunity to be able to vote? That don't make no sense to me at all. And then the next one is, see, this is another one. So, schedule runoffs 4 weeks instead of doing them in 9 weeks. You know what that is? People with money can afford to campaign harder in a 4-week time period than people without money. So they want to restrict people from being able to have that longer time period to be able to campaign away from people. Man, that's bull. That's bull hockey sticks. Why would you do that? That don't make no sense. And then the last two are and Chris, Dr. Pugh. I can't even call you Dr. Pugh right here, man. I can't even call you Dr. Pugh here. Chris, this one right here make no damn sense. And yeah, I said damn sense. This made no damn sense. Prevent free food and drinks for voters waiting in line. Why in the heck would you tell them not to be able to provide drinks and food for people waiting in these long lines when you've done everything you can to force people to have to wait in long lines? It makes no sense, Dr. Pugh. It makes no sense. The preacher in me coming out, Pugh. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense, Pugh. And then the other one is, and I don't even understand this. I gotta find an example to this one because 4 or 5 people have asked me about this one. Restrict early voting buses to emergencies. Why can't we have? I'm hoping it's not saying that you can't have buses to be able to go around and pick up the elderly and those people who want to go to the polls. I gotta find out what this one's all about, and I don't even want too deep detail. But that one about the free food and drinks, man, that one right there pissed me off, Dr. Pugh. Dr. Pugh, that pissed me off. You gonna tell me you will do all this stuff? You gonna cut out the opportunity for you to have absentee ballots? You already know the lines are long. And on the Senate side, Dr. Pugh, guess what else they're doing? On the Senate side, they get ready to up the age back to 65. So you really getting ready to cut 50%. You had 27,000 people in Chatham County vote absentee ballot. You about to cut that in half. So half the people got to go back to either early voting or voting in person. And you telling them they got to wait in the line. You already got long lines. Why are you going to make them wait in the longer line? And then you're going to tell them that they can't have free food or drinks. What kind of crap is this, dog? But this is a system that is pushing us and is designed to hold back the opportunity for us to do what we got to do. And all we're doing is, like I said in the highlight, we're being punished. They're trying to punish us because we did what was right finally and voted their behinds out of the federal level. And now they know the state is up for charge. And guess what? We're gonna work on that too. And I try to stay nonpartisan on this piece right here, but it's some crap. And I see our friend Stacy then came on. Stacy late. I've been waiting on you to say, hey Stacy, how you doing? Dr. Pugh, that's our homegirl Stacy.
Yep.
Who always chime in on her. She's doing well. I see Debbie's on here. James Putney. Happy birthday, friend. Phil, how you doing? And Stevens, I hope you're still with us.
Debbie.
But Dr. Pugh, man, I wanted to make sure on this broadcast, it is what it is. I want to make sure we read the restrictions that came out from the House bill, and the Senate bill is going to lay out the harder core things because there's less people in the Senate than it is the House. But guess what? We're gonna be fine at the time. But you know what? No matter what they do, we're gonna find a way to do what we got to do as a people to get those people who represent people elected in Georgia. Georgia, I wore my peach colored shirt. I know it's burnt orange, but y'all just imagine it's peach. I wore my peach colored shirt because you know what? The peach state is no longer a free state to be given away. The peach state will belong in the hands of the people moving forward. And that's what I want to close out with, brother. I had to make sure we had to talk about it. It is what it is. Don't get caught by the eyes. Brother, go ahead and back into your spiel, man. I apologize for interrupting that broadcast, but I just had to put them points out there.
No, you good. No, it's not an interruption.
You see how I did quiet just...
No. It's not interruption if you giving information, bro. Because a lot of people don't know how detailed and non-detailed some of the things that you told us, right? Now, I wanted to start this off by saying this. what you've already said. And first of all, I'd just like to give a personal shout out to everybody who's on the call. Debbie, Ada, Phil, Shirley, Luke Shelley was actually in my class, so it's very refreshing to see him on here as well.
Oh, wow.
James and Stacy and James and Ada. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. But I got to start off with you already.
James Putney birthday. James Putney birthday was yesterday. He already said thank you. Every time he say James' name, I'm gonna say his birthday.
Okay,
yeah.
Happy belated. But one thing I want to just start off with this one sentence. If it does not make sense, it makes perfect sense. I'm going to say it again. If it does not make sense, it makes perfect sense. Now, remember, we just talked about a system that was created with the intent to disenfranchise certain groups and take them out of the family of humanity, right? Now, check this out. Only thing we're seeing is the system updating itself because guess what happened? This past political season, that system caught a virus. That is what we're seeing. It caught a virus and the virus spread. This is put like this. What do we do when they do an autoimmune? Is it T cells or something like that? I'll research it. But when they try to draw blood and see what your immune system is doing, we either had a low T cell, and I think the political system that was predicated to make sure a certain group does not have civil liberties, it had a low T cell count. So this bill is upping the T cell count. That's all it's doing. And I need everybody to understand every system has codes that automatically come in when something has been compromised. The system that was predicated to make sure certain people don't have access, it was compromised. That's the reason why I put like this. When a system is based off making sure that this game is rigged, equal fight or equality, fairness, justice, all of these different words that a lot of people are looking for, that's literally anti the system that was created. You can't have a system that was created off injustice and then say you have a justice department. It does not work like that. However, the system is really, really good at putting out words to make people feel better about an uneven system. See, remember, if a lot of people kind of highlight your emotions, they never, ever have to give out the information. That's what a lot of people may not understand. So just like you were just saying, you were reading by statement, bullet point by bullet point. The reason why I was sitting back because I needed to make sure I heard every word very, very clear. What do you always say? What was the first thing you told me 15 years ago, Jay? Always find out the benefit, Chris. If you want to know why something is taking place, you need to know what the benefit is and who is benefiting. So now, the things that you just said, making sure people can't be bused, making sure that people can't go to the polls and receive food and water. Why? Because if I'm making sure that I'm putting barriers up for certain people to not be able to vote, I don't want anybody making them comfortable to help them stay in line longer so I can literally push their humanity out of the way. Put it like this. If we have a lot of elders out there who are standing in the sun, right? If we're out there in the outside in the open and people are making sure they stay hydrated and comfortable, that goes against a system that is literally built to make sure that people can't vote. So naturally, this system, this dehumanizing system had to update. It's just like being on your laptop. As soon as something Norton pops up, hey, you might want to download this. You might want to restart your computer. Hey, you might want to do this. You might want to do that. Hey, your computer didn't shut down right. Do you want me to update or bring up the windows that you had up last time? That's what a system does. It lets you know when it was compromised. And guess what happens? And I just said this a few minutes ago, but I need a lot of people to just hear this. If a system is based off of people not having the right to vote, people finally, I would say it again. Don't listen to what I just said with common sense. Listen to it based off of a system.
Chris, repeat that again because you went out for just a second. Repeat that again.
I will. Okay. So guess what?
Repeat that statement because you went out for a second.
Okay. If a system is based off making sure that certain people not have the ability and the right and the option and the resources to vote, and this past political season had the most people voting, that is cheating according to a system that is based off making sure that people don't vote. That is cheating. But you can't look at it as cheating as a justice word. Cheating means it's going against the true intent and the spiritual makeup of the system that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a system that is made to dehumanize specific groups. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Now, we can make progress, but we can't. Well, we're going to have to really be honest with ourselves with this. We can make progress in a system that is literally hell-bent. But if we're trying to progress in a system that was hell-bent on our dehumanization, we're going to have to be honest about not being surprised when the system updates. We're going to have to literally start having honest conversations like, hey, if we're going to participate in this system that was literally made to dehumanize us, and we're constantly participating in it, how about we just say, this is, instead of saying, not saying that we're doing anything wrong, but I'm telling you what I want us to at least start formulating these words with our mouths, right? If I know this system was made a few hundred years ago to make sure that certain people weren't even considered human, I should expect these bills to come out every time change takes place, because anytime with certain groups that were designated as non-human start literally functioning in their humanity, that's cheating. So now, guess what happens? When that system updates, the people are going to have to understand that since I'm playing a rigged sport, I can't get mad when the referees just start throwing flags on me over and over again just by being on the team. Have y'all ever seen a football game and you clearly see the referees are just, it's just right now, it's just so egregious to the point where you don't even want to see the game anymore? I want everybody to think about it like this. We've been looking at a rigged sport, a rigged football game for for centuries and decades. Just being honest with you. We've just been looking at it. So now if you're going against the other team and you're going against the refs, how are you going to play now? I'm going to read something. There's a lot of things that you said, Brother Jones, I want to read off. Just like I said, the system just caught a virus. It's just updating. Anytime when people just come up and have a new bill after a major loss, when free radicals actually got into the immune system, it has to update the immune system. It did hurt people. You said, you're like, who did it hurt? Oh, Brother Jones, it hurt a lot of people seeing people who are not supposed to vote for the very, very first time. That means the system that was already put in place to disenfranchise certain groups, it had to be updated because clearly it is outdated. The system is so outdated that the biggest voter turnout came about this year in the most political, I would say the most intense political season in my lifetime, I would say. And I've been, honestly, in the last 25 years, it's been nothing but controversy in every political season, right? But this one hit a little different. I've never seen a political season in the midst of a pandemic where people's health was politicized. At the same time, man, it was just so much stuff going on. And right now, everybody was confused. Even if you were sure about why you were voting, you were still confused. You were still confused to a certain extent. You might have felt good about certain things that you heard, but at the end of the day, you did not know what you were voting for. And I see a lot of people right now, they're experiencing a lot of the itis. But a lot of people are experiencing this voter's remorse because guess what happens? In a pandemic, the people that made promises, they couldn't really promise us anything. I need to say that on behalf of me. I ain't going to speak on behalf of nobody else. But how can you really promise people when you have no idea what this virus is doing? You can't make a promises if you're adapting yourself. You don't know. And most of the people who are experts, and God bless them, are experts that are literally out there trying to figure out all these different things. But at the end of the day, some of them are coming out saying, hell, we don't know. We just trying our best. So anybody who's trying to give you promises when they really don't know exactly what's going on, right now, a lot of people saying, well, he said this, he said that. I said, man, who can really follow through on their promises during the pandemic? Think about what some of your jobs and some of some of your opportunities, your business opportunities. Look at the restaurant. I'm pretty sure the restaurants promised people 2-for-1 specials and lunch specials before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, they were just like, "We'll be back." Like that's the only thing they can say. You know what I mean? So I put like this. You already went over what is the benefit, right? And I say if it does not make sense, it makes perfect sense. Now I will tell you this. You use several different words in some of the taglines that you had, right? Now this is what I want people to understand. Any word that does not have a clear, specific definition will be a weapon. I'm going to say it again. Any word that does not have a clear and specific definition will turn into a weapon to whoever is targeted. Meaning, if I say, hey, I don't want your unprofessional or untimely busing. Well, no one knows what that word means. So anything in this bill that's being passed, please know that any word that seems fuzzy, vague, blurry, confusing, oh, you best believe whoever's been targeted to make sure they don't have the rights in our Constitution and in these state legislatures, those vague words have victims that are targeted. I'll give the floor back to you, Brother Jones, but I need everybody to understand we're dealing with a system that is based off a specific immunity. That immunity was supposed to protect the system from free radicals. The free radicals have just invaded that system that had supposedly had walls built up to make sure that certain people did not infiltrate and have their voices heard. And I need y'all to understand something. There have been laws and statutes, Jim Crow laws, Christian black codes. You got all these different policies, procedures, all of the institutionalized dehumanization all over the place. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to come to a place where we need to say, look, we're playing a rig sport. How are we going to play? Because all of this looking for equality and justice, when it's the system based off injustice, that element of surprise is literally wasting our first quarter where we could be trying to score the ball. We playing from behind in the first quarter because we're still trying to act surprised that they already up it by 21 points before they even flip the coin. Back to you, bro.
Man, it is what it is, man. And my thing is, I say that with subtlety in my heart. But I hope you understand my subtlety in my heart doesn't echo my sentiments for how much anger I have with what people who are voted on by people would do to suppress and keep another group of people from being able to have the opportunity to express the right to vote. My thing is this: when I equate being a sore loser. The one thing I hate worse in life is a sore loser, because a sore loser doesn't understand. A person who loses licks their wounds, look at why they lost, and it comes back to the table to try to win again, and even if they lose again, I appreciate them kind of people because they licked their wounds, they saw where they lost at, and they came back again. But when you got to rig the system to get a victory, when you got to pay the refs to get a victory, when you got to play with back in the day where they used to talk about with the baseball bat where it was hollow on the inside to make the bat hit the ball a little harder. When you got to do stuff like that, rig the system, or with Stickum. Remember Stickum back in the day with the NFL? You had to stick them and you to put the Stickum on their hand. When you gotta cheat to win the system, I lose all respect for you, man. And this is what's happening. And this is what happened from people who are supposed to be in a position of elected positions that we're supposed to hold honest and true to make sure that they do everything for the right. And Debbie, you are absolutely right. That state bill disenfranchises every voter. It disenfranchises every voter in the state of Georgia. And then watch this. And what's the name said a little earlier? Pinckney said a little earlier. The absentee ballot was only brought to the table in Georgia to help the Republican. And guess what? Something they brought, now they're trying to pull it apart because it's working better for the other party, for the Democratic Party. So, you know, my thing is this, man. You know, play the game to be fair. If you know you can't win no more, then maybe you need to reevaluate yourself and reevaluate your consciousness and reevaluate everything inside of you. Say, maybe I am not as people oriented as I thought I was, because all that's happening is you can do this right here. We're going to find a way to make sure people still get to the polls, and we're going to change Georgia, whether you like it or not. And that's my stance on it. You know, and I can only affect those people who hear my voice and see my hands. And what I mean by that is, hear my voice. If you come around me, you hear me make these comments and see my hands. And that's when I text, type, hit Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, whatever the case may be in the world, to make sure the message get out there, clear. Georgia is in a war right now. And we are, and Dr. Pugh, we are still a national program, what we doing messaging wise. But understand this, the state of Georgia was won by the United States of America because everybody in America was cheering us on from November to January 5th to say, hey, man, y'all can bring back America home. And we did that here in Georgia. We did that in Georgia. And guess what? They saw it. They questioned it. They challenged it. They did everything. You know, the former president asked for a recount on the November election 3 times. And guess what? Come to find out, you got more votes for us going through it 3 times. I said, man, maybe you should do it 30 times so we can get more votes. But in reality, you challenged it 3 times and it didn't work for you. It failed. What's up, Dr. Hall? It failed. It failed miserably. Failed. And guess what? With this failure of what they tried to take from us, it didn't change nothing. We still took the presidency out of chat. The state of Georgia changed that mind on that piece right there. We got rid of the president who was not for all people. And then we turned around and got Congress. I mean, and the next thing is going to be Congress next year. But we turned around and got 2 U.S. senators. They were not people. They were for politics. They were for money. But they weren't for the people. They didn't even interact with the people. And so now you got 2 people from the people that interact with the people. And so now the state of Georgia is up for battle. I'm going to give it to you, dog, because I'm going to close it out after you finish.
No, I just got a question. I want to interact with you. I want to kind of bounce some things back and forth with you. The interaction with the people are so important during a political campaign. In your opinion, who have you seen interact with people after they won office? After they're in office, who is actually interacting with the people after they get in office, in your opinion?
I think the Democratic Party does a better job of interacting with all people. And reason why I say that is because of this. And I'm gonna break it down conceptually speaking. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. I'm gonna do 2 minute breakdown. Because number one, they come from the people, so therefore they already connected with people. And so most of the Democrats already have a relationship with the black races and all those other different disenfranchised races, as they should. And then they have a relationship with the Republican side, because guess what? Those Republicans make sure that they hold them accountable. And so they'll call them, write them, email them, text them, anything like that under the sun. Because guess what? When I won my election, when I ran for public office, you know the first person who contacted me? It wasn't the Democrats. He was a Republican. And you know what they said? Well, this is what we were working on prior to you getting in the seat, and this is what we expect you to continue to do. And so with that kind of interaction, you already knew you was going to interact with them. Now, doesn't mean you're going to do what they say or follow through on what they want, but they're going to make sure they speak their mind. And then guess what? And then we also interact with the Democrat Party. Now, mind you, I'm not going to sit here, and I know I'm going to get chastised for what I'm about to say. I'm not going to sit here and say every Democrat goes out there and does that either, because we have a lot of policies on our side as well too with the Democratic Party. But if to answer your question, in most cases, the Democratic Party works generally with more people than the Republican Party would. Because and what I'm about to say is a true, honest to goodness truth. Whenever you see a press conference from the Republican Party, guess what you see? You see a plethora of white people behind that person. And you might see 1 or 2 blacks behind that person, but you see a plethora of white people behind the person. And I don't know if that's a fear of being a black person to be a Republican or whatever the case may be, but whenever you see it, when you see a Democrat, you see a rainbow. You see and I say rainbow, you see black, white, Indian, Chinese, whatever case may be behind those people. So that's your conscious vote. And what I say is America is not a white nation like it was founded on. I think David said it best. This was founded on the principles of a white male system. When America was founded, that's what was founded. You considered a person as a white male. Women didn't get their rights until the 19th Amendment, I believe, and we didn't get our rights until the 14th Amendment. So America was built on the principle of one race and one gender. And now America, fast forward 400 years later, we're struggling to get out of the unconscious struggle of that piece right here to become conscious and understanding that we are greater when we focus on everybody and not just segments of our organization. It's not about the privilege to make the decision. It's about the totality that makes the decision. Well, and that's what we got to do. And yes, ma'am, to clarify even stronger, it was white male landowners. But even some non-landowners were still part of that process because it was about the skin tone, and the land ownership was just a piece that stamped it and rubber stamped it and gave them some kind of clarity. And it goes back to home ownership. We still struggle in the Black community for home ownership. We still struggle in the community for any kind of ownership because you know what? This privileged society has prevented that from upward mobility from happening. And they've done it from the government side. They've done it through redlining, gerrymandering, and all kind of other policies that have an equal part of every race, including females from any race, from having an equal part. And we still in 2021 still struggle to make sure that females, African Americans, and other people of color get the same equal rights as others. And that's not intolerable. That should not be happening in 2021. I mean to overstep your question, but go ahead, brother. Your next question.
No. I mean, the reason why, one of the things I asked about, and I'm glad that you brought this up, man, because we're talking about how it started. Remember, in order to understand the fruits, we have to be honest about the roots, right? So the root of the Constitution, the root of this business that we call the United States, because it is a business. And my mentor told me not too long ago, anything with a budget is a business. It's not just a country.
Oh, yeah.
It is a corporation. Anytime when you're dealing with money, finances, investments, land, all of that stuff, you're dealing with a business, right? So guess what happens?
One point I want to add. One point before you go too far. It's not just a business. It's a business in the capitalistic society exists, and that's strong. It's a capitalistic society. It's a business in a capitalistic society, which means those people who know how to capitalize will be the ones who control society. And I want to make sure that piece is tagline to what you were just getting ready to talk about, business.
And I'll build on that. Can you have capitalism and justice? Can they coexist?
It's hard to do. It's real. It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Like this. I put like this.
Because you want me to give you a question. Yes, it can happen, but government has to play fair in ensuring it happens fair.
Have you seen fairness ever in your lifetime?
I want to. Come at me, brother. Come at me.
Have you ever seen
a good discussion on that?
Have you ever seen fairness? Have you ever witnessed it? Have you ever seen it documented?
I'm waiting to answer your question. I'm waiting to find utopia.
You waiting where?
I'm waiting to find utopia.
Okay. All right.
So utopia is right.
No. I've heard of it, but I know. Utopia.
Whenever somebody says utopia, that's a perfect place that does not exist.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Utopia. It does not exist.
You're waiting for it. But if you're waiting for something that doesn't exist, what are we doing? If I'm waiting for something that does not exist, what am I doing?
You better be fighting. You better be fighting. What kills me, brother. What kills me, brother, is when somebody says society is not fair to me. And then I ask the question, how much fight did you give to it? Did you give it 40%? Did you give it 60%?
Right.
Did you give it 80%?
Right.
Did you give it 110%? How much fight did you give to that piece of society that failed you? You know what I'm saying? We complain about watch this. We complain about leaders. But then I say, my next question is, when somebody comes to me complaining about leadership, guess what I tell them? I said, well, why don't you run? You can't find nobody else to run. Oh no, I ain't. Oh no, I ain't got time to run. I ain't trying to get along like. I ain't trying to. But the thing is, if you don't have somebody who steps into that light of leadership, you're gonna keep getting stepped on. Right.
And I will tell you this.
I fight that and say that all day.
It's nothing wrong with utopia. I want to be clear on that, because even I said, all right, if we're waiting on for something that doesn't exist, what are we supposed to do? My response to that is create it on your own. Whatever that looks like, create your version of that utopia. So now check this out. Man, if this question ain't clear, let me know. If I know a rigged system is not capable of a utopia, am I still supposed to expect that utopia in that system, or do I need to build my utopia outside of that system?
Okay, are you ready for me to answer?
Yep.
Okay, this is what you call a long game and short game.
Okay.
If I know a system is pegged by, if I know a system is pegged by fallacy and criminal intent and it's not fitting suited for me, Chris, I evaluate it and say, okay, this is going to take 2 days to fix. This is going to take 2 years to fix. This is going to take 20 years to fix. And I do that with an understanding that I don't just say, oh, I can fix that tomorrow, because everything can't be fixed overnight. Some things require time and attendance and time, affection, patience to be able to fix those things. And guess what? If we're not willing to put time, affection, and patience into it, if you're not putting love into it, if you're not patient about letting the process go through it, if you're not willing to understand that time is going to take relevance to it, then we're going to lose. It's like I talked about the other day with somebody. We talked about the splosh, and we talked about it in Black communities in where I'm from. We talked about Black communities where I'm from. We very rarely benefit from splosh money. You know why? Because when we want to talk about splosh, we want to talk about splosh when splosh is right there in our face. And in the other communities, they benefit because guess what they're doing the whole 6 years? They've been doing it the whole 6 years. When the splosh gets out, they start on the next splosh for 6 years down the line. That's why they keep getting the lion's share of the splosh, because it's the long game. In our communities, we don't like to play the long game. We want our reward today. I want it today. I ain't waiting. I want it today. And we got to get out of that. We got to understand sometimes you got to play the long game. Sometimes you play the short game. To answer your question, I put time on everything, brother. Everything is not to be fixed right away. Some things is going to take me to put more time into. And those things I got to put more time into, I put more time into it and play the long game with it. Now, if I know that in the long game it can't be fixed, guess what I do then, Chris? I move into a situation or a narrative where I know I can make something happen for myself. But let me tell you something. You can go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma, if you go back in the 19th century, Tulsa, Oklahoma, those people did just what I just said. They said, well, y'all not going to let us assimilate and associate in your environment, so we're going to create our environment on the outside. All it took was one person to go uptown to come back and then come back downtown for an incident that didn't really cause any really hypothetical issues. And guess what? Tulsa got burned down to the ground. To the ground. And then guess what? Then the person who started the whole incident in the elevator, she didn't even want to testify to say it was even true of what started the whole incident in Tulsa.
That's my point.
So when you got those kind of situations, you can run. You can run from it all you want. That problem is going to come find you, and it's going to attack you wherever you ran to. So that's why I say it's not worth running from. The best thing to do is look at the long-term picture. If it takes me 20 years to fix the problem, so be it. And then the other piece is we got to coordinate our efforts. And me and you talk about this all the time. We got to coordinate our efforts in making sure the young generation works with the old generation. We got to start beating up on each other. We got to start calling old people, and old people got to start talking that we not smart enough to do what we have to do to run the world. But we're not willing to cooperate with each other in our community to move that narrative forward. And that's why we're behind in society. So if we're not willing to step forward, we're not willing to build a brand, we're going to be loved.
I put like this. You said something extremely important. The long game versus the short game. And this is, remember, when I say this, I'm not saying this as an excuse. I'm looking at it as a historical reference and how we're still suffering from the law of cause and effect. All right. You just brought up Tulsa. I think Tulsa is one of the most important, I would say moments in history that everybody needs to understand, because sometimes people love to say, well, why don't y'all just do this? Only thing you got to do this and everything will work out. Well, we do have a history of being able to try to do things on our own and got bombed. we can't really protect ourselves when we actually try to build that utopia outside of the system. So we're going to have to literally be, and trust me, I don't disagree with you. It's just I think you're seeing the effect. I want to be very clear because the young people that's listening, they need to understand the cause. The reason why a lot of people have not built things on their own is because when they did, they got bombed to death. Now, when they got bombed to death, what type of trauma, what type of mentality, what type of survival skills that were built upon once we seen all the bombing, the lynching, the murdering, the predatory lending, the redlining, the black codes, the Jim Crow laws, the voter laws that are coming out. Like, let's be honest, because I want everybody to hear me out loud.
Segregation, all that stuff.
We just and hopefully I don't want to go as too long, but I know we had the hour mark, but we got to talk about the crab in the barrel mentality. Let's go, man. The crab in the barrel mentality has come from the barrel maker. We got to start really looking at it because right now I used to talk to the crabs about why they act in such a way in an environment that is not fit for them. Let's just be honest. Our children are getting attacked in a system that is built on eugenics. Period. The education system is the eugenic system. Why don't they study hard? Because they are literally targeted for failure. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that children don't have to try harder. I'm not saying that parents shouldn't be more involved. But we got to ask ourselves, how did this system start and what was its overall intent? Let's be honest. Certain groups were targeted to make sure they did not have the proper education. And if they were caught reading, horrific things took place. We got to understand we have not only generational curses, but we have generational trauma, generational habits. But guess what happens? A lot of people talk about the generational curses, but a lot of people don't talk about the generational treatment. The generational treatment is just as important as the generational curses, because some of the things we pass down are, yes, they're habits, they're survival tools. Well, I want to make sure you act like this, because if I acted like this when I was your age, horrible stuff would happen. Don't do that, because the only thing they're going to do is take it away from you anyway, right? I get it. However, we got to be honest about it. When people are actually doing what they can to build their own utopia, we see public lynchings every day, not only if it's physical, when it comes down to dehumanization by state-sanctioned violence, or we start talking about financial lynching, celebrity lynching. We just see these images over and over again, where the people that we looked upon as, hey, they about to make it. It's almost like, we run in and literally race is just like a relay. As soon as you see your team member about to hit that finish line, something horrendous happens every race, and after a while, that type of treatment will literally affect how you feel about yourself. I was telling the community leader today. I said, man, and they were like, man, we got so many problems out of these shit. I said, well, look at the environment they're in. How do the adults take care of the environment? If the adults don't respect this place, how can the children respect it? Look at it. And now that everybody's getting quiet, I said, well, at the end of the day, the children are not clueless. They're not dumb. They're observing, but they don't have all the words to properly express what they're seeing. What they are seeing is people that look like them constantly losing their playoff game every year. Every year. And so now that frustration builds up, and they say, look, I can work all my life and I'm seeing somebody older than me that looks like me who has everything stripped away. Now that person is saying, look, I can go to school, I can do all of this stuff, but at the end of the day, somebody can take it away from me because they fear for their life. Why would I try hard? Now, in my line of work, what I try to do is just say, look, I really respect what you just told me. Unfortunately, we still have to make sure that we put ourselves in a place where that does not bother us. But how can you tell a crab in a barrel to just ignore the barrel when the barrel is literally impeding not only their physical process and progress, but their mental process and progress at the same time. So at the end of the day, until we have an open and honest conversation about the barrel maker and why the crabs were put in that barrel, I will then have the crab in the barrel mentality when the barrel is taken off. Now, this is what the weird part is. I want everybody to understand, just like that system of dehumanization that I told y'all about earlier, I want y'all to look at this system like internet provider. Remember, back in the day, we had dial-up and wires all around the house. You could see the system literally attached all the way around your house, right? We had those fatback computers. No one had laptops back then. You had a huge computer in your home with wires all over the place. And if you was on the internet, you couldn't be on the phone if you were going to lose connection, right? So guess what happens? That internet connection has just been updated. Right now, the things that we can see clearly, back in our day, the kids are dealing with Wi-Fi. They are connected, but they don't see none of the wires. So now everybody's telling them, yeah, you need to work hard. But they say, look, man, I can feel the waves coming through here. I can see it. We're connected, but I don't see what anybody's talking about, but I feel it. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we're dealing with the same thing, but we're dealing with it differently. The kids feel it, but they can't see the wires of the wall. All of our elders, they saw it plain as day. When they went outside and saw people hanging from that tree, they knew what time it was. When they go up there and just see all of a sudden the affluent business in their neighborhood, all of a sudden it was just closed for no reason and the owner was missing. They knew what time it was. Right now, our kids, they got the Wi-Fi version. It looks like everybody's having a ball, but a lot of people are suffering in silence. So they have this idea that, hey, I can just do anything I want. And now they're saying, well, why y'all didn't do anything for us? They don't understand the public lynching that I'll put like this. When you see crime like that, and when you start trying to talk to elders and asking them to reminisce, and to the point where you want to learn your history, but the history is so painful,
man. That can be painful.
But this is the thing. Check this out. I thought I was doing something good by asking them to tell me about what happened, until I saw one of them have a breakdown, and the other ones get quiet. And the other ones just get up and walk out of the room. And now I'm sitting up here like, am I really putting them through something extremely unhealthy just because I want to know what happened? You know, what if them reliving this stuff could take them out? I don't know what their level of stress, what kind of stress they can handle at the moment. This is some real stuff. So put it like this. The crab in that barrel mentality, we got to have an honest conversation. When we built our own, what happened, why it happened, and do we actually have the strength, the system, and the military to back up another Tulsa? We gotta have that conversation, because if you ain't got it, trust me, the system has been updating ever since 1921. Have we?
Yep.
That's a very deep question, man. And so that's the reason why, like, I don't mind holding out people accountable. And I don't mind holding myself accountable. I don't know a lot, man. Like, my doctor told me how much I don't know. You know what I mean? So I'm humble with it. Like, every time I see something new, I say, look, I'm not here to say I know this and you don't. I'm saying we may not know what we need to know. Let's go find out together. That's where I'm at right now with it. You know, you see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're going to have a real honest conversation. If we built our utopia, can we protect it? And if we can't, why? Period.
Man. So it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Don't get caught in the itis. Yeah, Jerome, we're gonna probably do that in another show. I know we already working on Chris. I've been doing more of the planning for it, but Dr. Pugh and I have already talked about doing the state of the Black Chatham. I know Pugh lives in Statesboro, so he will probably be the host because he's not a part of Chatham. But we talking about doing generational, where the millennials have a discussion with the Gen Xers and just have that conversation. The baby boomers, not saying we don't want to deal with the baby boomers, but the young generation need to get together with each other. How I look at it, the Generation X or Gen X is the working class group of people. Those are the people who are on the ground working. And the millennials are the next generation that will be forming into that working class people. But between the two, those should be the people we're putting out. Hey, there my friend Francis Johnson. He on the show, man. What's going on, Pastor Francis?
Francis,
we got to make sure. We got to make sure that we're covering all bases as far as that's concerned, Chris. That generational conversation is going to be powerful. I talked to my guy out of Shreveport, Louisiana, who sent me the concept. He sent me the information. He said, man, it was a powerful conversation. There was a lot of dialogue on that thread I put out there. There's almost 200 comments put on that thread, you know, backward and forth conversation. And a lot of people say, well, it's a lot of negative. I don't believe anything can be in negative. I think even in negative situations, you find the good in it and you build upon it, because that's what makes you greater. But if you accept negativity and leave it in your heart, then you're gonna be a negative person. And I just don't believe in negativity. I believe in accepting it, take it in, and build upon it, and build away from it, and make a negative situation into a positive situation. And so that's that math in me that like to do all that kind of stuff. But brother, I think that we are. I think like I said, we just want to take our time with this, build our energy with this. It is what it is. Don't get caught by that itis. And I'm going to read it one more time for the people who may have missed it the first time. These are the things that's tied to House Bill 531. These are the things tied to House Bill 531. And y'all tell me, man, if I'm wrong for saying that this is blatant black Jim Crow, black claws coming back, just attacking black people for getting out to the polls and voting in this last election. If this ain't blatant, I don't know what is. And the first thing is limit Sunday voting to one option Sunday in each county. Now, we all know most working class people work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And they go to church on Sunday, and they don't mind taking the time to go vote on Sunday. You're going to take away an option to be able to go ahead and vote. And that's just, we're taking away privileges. We're taking away from the other segment of society. You can't tell me that you're not being focused about who you're targeting when you talk about these kind of conversations. Restrict the use of ballot drop boxes by requiring them to be located inside early voting locations. Now, if most locations are closed on Sunday, and you're already saying on Sunday you want it where it's limited to one vote, then guess what? You also making sure that when you put it in locations that may be closed on Sunday, you know, it becomes problematic again. And so my thing is, if you put it based on requirements of making sure a camera is focusing on that ballot box where a person can drop that thing in the mail, if you, Dr. Pugh, if you saw the location at the Board of Registration, Board of Elections, it is right there. I watch 135 people drop off ballots one day in 1 hour. They pulled up, got their car, dropped the ballot off, got back in the car, and was on their way. It was too easy to vote. And they were able to go home. When I talked to people, they were able to go home and say, these are the people I looked at, I researched, I Googled. They were able to make conscious decisions. And that's the problem they don't like about absentee ballot. Because now we done hijacked something that they tried to create to get more votes. We done hijacked it and made it work for us as the people. And that's why they mad about that. But putting those
the system has to update.
Where you know, you know, and you're right. I agree with you. We have to update on that. The next thing is require a driver's license number station document to vote after. And I think is this: when you putting yourself at liberty for somebody to steal your identity, somebody to steal something from you. When everybody who is a registered voter has an ID number, why not just make them have that ID number, put that ID number on that paper, and make sure they sign it with that ID number? And if the vote is falsified, then guess what? You can hold them liable for that. But to force them to go out there and have a copy of their ID, put that with the absentee ballot, and then to not, hey, Melvis, appreciate it. I'm gonna have to look into that. We're gonna talk about that next week. The U.S. House just passed the new Voting Rights Act, so we'll talk about that next week. But to not to force somebody. What if I don't have a copy machine in my house? What if I don't have access to a copy machine in my house? Now you're telling me I have to provide a copy of my ID. And so the next thing was set a deadline to request absentee ballots 11 days prior to election. And I said earlier that, you know, everybody is not timely. A lot of us have schedules and times and dates and everything we got to do. What if we don't have it? What if we're late on that piece right there? I think you can put date out there. We just got to make sure that we're comfortable with putting the date out there that fits the balance of people. And I'm sure that they looked at and seen, okay, this is the group of people who sent their ballots after the 11-day period. So that's why we're going to restrict those people from being able to turn those ballots in. The next piece is ban outside funding. Ban outside funding for elections from nonprofit organizations. Why would you tell nonprofit organizations that don't exist in Chatham, that don't exist in the state of Georgia, that they can't support and help candidates in our races? You know, why is that? Because you know what? That's blatant, because they saw the amount of money that was raised outside of Georgia to support those two U.S. candidates, or U.S. Senate candidates, was the reason why we won that election. And the amount of support that came with the president, we won that election. And they're going to keep doing that to keep it going on. White supremacy is attempting to survive as apartheid, since democracy is no longer a viable option given their backward and bankrupt minority position. You said it right on the head, Dr. Johnson. You said it right on the head. The next thing was prohibit, and this one right here pissed me off, Chris. I know I said a lot last time, but this one right here pissed me off. Prohibit governments from mailing unsolicited absentee ballot applications. So what you're telling me is if a government wants to take the time to empower its people, it can no longer do that because we don't want y'all to empower y'all people. And that's a blatant target on democratic areas or democratic structured governments that actually have the money in balances and everything like that to make it where it's a fair process. You can't tell somebody, you can't tell government who fought hard to work for its people to say, we know you work for your people, but we no longer want you to work for your people. Because they didn't ask for it, you don't need to give them that. No. What's wrong with being proactive and making sure you give them that absentee ballot? I think that if you got 125,000 registered voters in a county area, then I think it's a responsibility of that county to send out 125,000 absentee ballots to all those people. It don't cost them but $50,000, and government got it. But you know what? They don't want the balance of government to be successful for the people. They want it for the privilege. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. When you're about a group of people and not about all the people, you do things like this. And that one pissed me off more than anything else, because they understand government structures who didn't mind investing in doing unsolicited absentee ballots are government structures who don't match their voting prowess. And I'm gonna leave it at that. The next thing is create instant runoffs. Vote.
No, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
I got four more. And then I turn it over to you. Creating instant runoff voting for military and overseas voting. That's the one I said I got to do more research on. Find out what's about. Schedule runoffs 4 weeks after election rather than currently 9 weeks. And basically, they want to cut that time period because you know what? That was more time period. We got the canvas. We got to get out there and get the message out there and voting. Guess what, y'all? Y'all can make it 2 weeks. We gonna still win this election in 2020. We gonna still win this election in 21, and we gonna keep the president in 24. You know what? We're not gonna allow to take it over no more. We're gonna make sure we keep the power structure in the people's hands. And the people is all people. It's not just some. It's all people. And this was the other one that pissed me off, Chris. And I got 12 minutes, Chris. I got 12. I'm looking at the clock. I got 12 minutes. This is the other one that pissed me off.
What's that?
You're gonna make it a law. You're gonna make it a law to prevent free food and drinks for voters. You're gonna take the time to put in law to prevent free food and drinks for voters waiting in line. What if somebody has high blood pressure and they waiting in the sun and they done sweat themselves to death? Guess what, man? That person can have a heat stroke out there. He can die out there. What if that water was a lifeblood that saved them? oh, they should have brought their own water. What if they was in a rush to get to the boats and they didn't have a chance to put that bottle of water in their hand? If someone wanted to take the time to give them a bottle of water and they're not soliciting politics at all, what? Shame on you for trying to shame on you for trying to prevent somebody to give somebody a libation and something while they thirsty. Shame on you. And I think that was one of the most horrible pieces of the outline of what they gave. And the last one is restrict early voting buses to emergencies. I just don't understand why. I gotta, like I said, I gotta find out more about that one. Stacey just up and said they are restricting the military vote, and so I guess that's what that was all about. They're restricting the military vote. So, so if you restricted the military vote, shame on you.
That's deep.
Those are the people. Those are the people. Those are the people who serve this country and take care of our freedoms and liabilities. But we are allowed to be able to walk these streets in this community. And if you're telling them that they can't have their right, shame on you for trying to do anything you prevent anybody who is one of the 4-star military positions. And so those are the things that I wanted to highlight. I'm not going to be as excited next week. I'm excited now because I'm really angry about what's going on with government trying to restrict people. 3 times this election was recounted, and they found no incident of wrongdoing, and you still find ways to trip up and hold us back as a people. Chris, go ahead and finish your statement, man. We got 8 minutes and 45 seconds. You got the floor, brother.
Stacey said something that was very important. She said, and they call themselves Christians. Now, check this out. One of the things that we have to understand is that when somebody says Christian, we got to stop assuming they're talking about Christ. We got to stop assuming when somebody says the word Christian that people are talking about Christ. Because remember, I talked about the Christian black codes. They were talking about a political strong arm of people who identified as European Christians, meaning that was a political party. It had nothing to do with a faith or a divine faith. It had everything to do with politics, power, and land ownership. That is it. So when we start talking about the Christian black codes, those same Christians are still enforcing codes. That's what we're talking about. See, some of the things that you just read down, they don't make sense because they're coded. You see what I'm saying? And when people say that person is a good Christian man, you got a Christian woman and all this other stuff during the political campaigns, you got to ask yourself, we need to stop assuming they're talking about the same Christ that everybody else is talking about, because they're talking about enforcing codes, updating the system, making sure that certain people who are not considered quote unquote Christians are not actually put in power or are being empowered to even make their voices heard. Honestly, they believe, and a lot of them do believe, that they're in control of heaven, meaning their human rights and civil rights. That's what heaven is to the political arm of the Christian quote unquote mind frame. That's it. So when people, this is the issue that a lot of people have, and I had this too. I had a problem, or I didn't understand the huge line between the religion or the faith base in Christianity and the political base in Christianity. They are not the same. And one of the things that we're going to have an honest conversation about is who are the authors of these bills. And right now, I'm going to have to be more responsible by saying, instead of saying the government, I'm going to have to start putting names on this stuff. Because guess what's happening? The people that want to actually create change, they don't know where to go if I keep saying general words like the government or they, or, you know, what they're doing, the state of Georgia, the legislature, things of that nature. Right. So guess what happens? Labels protect the people in power. Right now, if I want to change something, I need to know the author or the authors of this bill. Why are they still in office? Because guess what happens? The authors of this bill, if their names are not on Front Street, they're going to be put back in office and people don't even know why. So I would say the very first step is to address the bill, is to address the people that wrote it. So we can't assume it's the government It's just almost like the Constitution. We can't assume that everybody was in the room. Who was in that room and what was their intent when they wrote it? Who was in the room when this bill was written and what was their intent behind it? And the only people that can answer by intent are the people that wrote this. So now one of the things I think we should be talking to this, but if we're not talking to the authors, we're going to be spinning wheels again. And the best way for the system to update is to make sure the authors never talk to the people. That's how that system up insecurity and justice updates.
Well, I'm gonna help you out. See, I'm a little bit more militant with mine. I think this way.
Okay.
If the author ain't writing the bill to work in my favor, guess what? I need to find a new author. And that's how I look at it. You replace the author. When you replace the author, you ain't got to worry about what kind of bills are written for you. And I think American society, and I think the one thing you just called out, which I still think that politicians don't realize that what they used to do in the dark and keep in the dark is no longer prevalent anymore. Too much technology out here does not allow them to be able to be secret in society. That's why you see so many government officials get in trouble, because what you were able to get away with 10, 20 years ago, you can't do that no more.
Can't do it.
Anybody, it's like this, Chris. When I was in college, way back in the 1930s and 40s, when I was in college, we had to go through books to find out information. Now, guess what? When I got my grad school degree, I got to pull my computer out and I hit Google, and Google gave me the information. I had to do tons of research for. And it's the same thing with society. Society has changed, but it seems that the politicians in the privilege have not changed yet to understand that, guess what? You can't do stuff in the dark no more, because when you do it in the dark, I know who it is, and you hit a mouthful. What I did the other day was, when this bill came out, I had a sheet printed where all the people and how they vote, and that was put on that Facebook. So guess what? When I put that out, people started getting phone calls. You voted with that? Oh, you voted with that? Where were you at? You weren't there. Why weren't you there? Because you know what? Technology has opened it up where we can hold people accountable. And once again, brother, if the author don't suit me, I put that book down and find a new author. And that's the biggest thing we can ever do, is we got to find new authors for these bills that suit the community and write the policy and procedures for the community. And then we'll get rid of the black code laws and all this other stuff, Jim Crow laws and everything like that. And we'll get those laws that benefit people. And so in long story short, we can, and you're right, we just spinning our wheels right now. If the authors don't realize we talk about their behind. But guess what? The best way to show an author of these bills, we talking about them, is you put somebody up against them. Even in gerrymandered situations, even in situations where it's dang near impossible to win against those people, you still run somebody against them, because that's how you call them out and call them to the carpet of what they did and what they did. Because now it forces people to go with that author, knowing dang right that person ain't for the people. But if you vote for them, shame on you, because you voted against them. And so that's how that's my clause at fixing the problem. You change the author. But in order for that to happen, we gotta stop being scared about running for public office. We gotta say, well, I don't want to put my namesake out there. The only way you're gonna change the society is if you run people against these bad authors. I ain't never seen a bestseller not do well unless it had an author's intention to be able to write what it need to write. And I think the same conversation comes here. You read books based on, most books sell based on who the person is, what kind of content they done put out in the past. Oprah Winfrey can write a book tomorrow and put it on the stand and not advertise at all, and it will be a bestseller within 1 month. 1 month. 1 month. Obama can write a book right now and put it on the thing, and it'll be a bestseller in 1 month.
It will. Definitely will.
And yes. They're trying to know it's not going to be a part of the House bill side. It's going to be a part of the Senate bill side. As far as the power of the Secretary of State, they're trying to reduce the Secretary of State to be a regular position, which that probably won't carry, because that will be illegal, because you're going after a constitution. That's one constitutional officer going against another constitutional officer, and those really don't jail well. So That's the answer, Glenada's question right here.
Got you. Jay, I wanted to say something before we close, man. I know we had the 1 hour and 30 mark.
All right, go ahead and close us out, man.
One thing I want everybody to do, just keep this in mind. When we start seeing things that it looks so lopsided, it's almost confusing. Anytime when you're dealing with confusion, you're not dealing with justice. That's why I want everybody to understand. So anytime when you see something that looks confusing, vague, all of this stuff, is somebody, if anything is confusing, that means somebody is being taken advantage of. Just point blank, period. Anytime when someone is confused, that is a sign that somebody is being taken advantage of. So now, hopefully, when we move forward, we'll know anytime when we feel like we're in darkness, if something is fuzzy, something is vague, our antennas need to go up, and we need to literally at least start asking questions before we start moving. We need to measure before we move. And last but not least, Brother Jones, I like to say this. Politics is in everything. I know Fred Hampton even said that politics is everywhere and in everything. There's no such thing as a person who is not political, right? The reason why they're saying that is out of safety. And politics is about the struggle between power and resistance, period. Everybody wants power or they either want to resist it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody's political. Newborns are political. Even the people who are leaving are political because they're trying to leave something for the people they're leaving behind. Politics is even in death, just like it's in life, ladies and gentlemen. So what I would like to say is, at least if we're going to be political, make sure you honor your first political party, which is your family. If you don't know what candidate to vote for your wife, vote for your son, vote for your daughter, vote for your husband, vote for Big Mama, vote for Granddaddy, vote for Uncle Lou, Uncle Richard, them, Uncle Jimmy, them. Vote for them. Now, and when I ask you all to vote for them, ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to make sure I put my vote behind them? What am I trying to do to put them in a better situation? What does voting even mean? What do I even want to do when I vote for a stranger versus voting for my family? The family is the first political party. I highly suggest we pool our votes and make sure that our first political party is undefeated. Once our first political party is undefeated, we'll start looking at this rigged game a little bit differently and have our expectations in order. I'll end right there, Brother Jones. Thank you again for a cool show, man. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, man, it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Don't get caught by the itis. I don't want anything else to say. Dr. Marion already closed us out. It is what it is. Don't get caught by the itis. Every single Thursday, 7 o'clock. We are not going to be on here an hour and 32 minutes forever. So we're just getting off. We're breaking our ice. We're breaking our ice. When we join the platform piece of ATR, I know that they're going to make sure that they keep us focused. Julius was on here earlier, but guess what? Julius is going to be the one who's responsible to keep us with an hour content. And that's the reason why we're going to a platform piece, Dr. Pugh, because if not, me and you will probably talk until the early mornings of Friday. And so basically, I got to go and check on the little one. I got to check on the wife. You got to check on your wife. You got to make sure we get ready to have a godson of mine, Dr. Mary Christopher Pugh, the godfather of Jay Jones. I'm going ahead and put that plug on live TV, y'all. That's how you get like, all right. But on a serious note, it is what it is. Don't get caught by the itis. We decided to do this because we wanted to talk to the community. It's imperative that the community, and especially the Black community, understands what parallels we can do to change society. And we have to be willing to fight what belongs to us. And I think he hit it nail on the head where your first piece the first piece of politics is your household. Is your household. And I think that's the most powerful tool that you ever dropped out. And I just want to tie a little piece to the end of that. The first piece of your politics, your household. And guess what? If a politician is hurting anybody in your house, in your mama house, in your daddy house, in your cousin house, in your auntie, anybody's house, in Julius' house, because he just spoke up here. If it's hurting in anybody's house, guess what? Then it's not good politics for you. And so we need to make sure we take that to heart, what he just said. We got to get out this barrel, y'all. That crate wasn't built for us in the first place. And like I said before, eventually, and Julius fuses me every single week, Chris. So I want you to know he fuses me every single week about y'all need to get in the content. Y'all need, and I keep trying to explain to them, I want to go ahead and get all this rust off. Because when we become an official show, and you know, I gotta wear a jacket and I gotta point at the camera and I ain't gotta direct and do all this other stuff. When we become an official show on the ATR platform, I want to make sure that we're the highest rated show on the platform and we're driving ratings to the whole program. Because he don't believe me when I say this, but I'm a firm believer that Black folk need to have their own media for everybody to understand Black issues. And my thing is, that ain't a racist statement. I just understand that there are Black things and there's issues in the Black community that need to be expressed by African Americans, because guess what? We need to be able to tell our own story, because our story has been told too far, too long into the right content. And that ain't a racial statement. That's a statement understanding that we have been let down several times when it comes to allowing other people to be the media source for us. And it comes time for us to be our own media source for ourselves. So that was a strong plug for ATR. So I hope Julius Hall will talk to me starting tonight, tomorrow, whenever. So because I made the strongest plug I could possibly make as far as ATR show. He's got about 20 shows on the platform. We got about 20 shows on the platform. And we're trying to get the message out there as far as what's going on in our community, our voices. And we want everybody, every race to join in and listen, because you know what? When we all look at the least of us and build our brothers and bring our brothers up, that's what makes America strong. And so with that being said, it is what it is. Don't get caught by that idol. Dr. Pugh, I know I told you was going to close us out, but I don't know how to shut my mouth. Good night, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.